Hi everyone, Chris here with another Free Marketeers news episode for the week ending 16 July 2021. I'm not going to go into various different news stories because, as all South Africans, and I'm sure many of you who listen to this from other countries know, this past week has seen widespread violence and looting across KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng provinces and in a few other isolated parts of the country. This all followed, of course, after the jailing of former President Jacob Zuma for being in contempt of court. Now, a lot of people have said that the riots were instigated and orchestrated by people who support and are in the camp of the former president. I'm sure those theories have a lot of weight and value, and I would encourage all of you to go and read up on all of that sort of thing and inform yourself as best as you can on the various factors that have influenced the violence. I wanted to just provide a little bit of thought on what I think has exacerbated a lot of it. I mean, at the moment, South Africa has a 42% unemployment rate. That's on the expanded definition, so people who have stopped looking for work. And also in terms of youth unemployment, that's hovering around 74%. So there's fertile ground for politicians, agitators, all manner of people to try and exploit the situation for their own benefit. There's a lot of frustration and hopelessness, I think, in South Africa, especially over the last 10 years of declining economic growth, declining prospects, and people struggling to find work and to provide for themselves and for their families. So I think this sort of thing was a long time coming. We'll probably see more of it in the future. I'm sure those of you who watch this sort of content, you won't be ignorant of these kinds of things, and it's up to each of us, our communities, the people we love and care about, to think about how we go forward and how we get better prepared for what might come in the future. I think it also points to the failures of the state, the policies and ideas that this government have implemented, and just how much it has destroyed South Africa. It's not just COVID-19 in the last year of lockdowns. The economy was very weak before COVID-19 came to South Africa. People were struggling a lot. And I suppose there's an element of, if politicians, people in academia, other social commentators keep on telling people that inequality is rising and inequality is fixed, that wealth can only exchange hands through force, people are going to start to believe that and try and take matters into their own hands and simply try and take what they can when they can. They're being told that the government will provide for them. Many people hope and vote for the government, that the government will do everything they promise, and then they're let down time after time. So I'm not going to predict that this will happen. It's my hope that people start to see more and more through the illusion of complete state control and relying on the state to solve all our problems. I think the proof is in the pudding, as it were. And I wanted to use this time and this episode this week to just highlight the good that South Africans are capable of, no matter what the state does. This past week, we saw South Africans take to the streets, to their communities, to defend their property, their businesses, their shops, and to defend each other and care for each other. And this was across racial lines, religious lines, take your pick. South Africans wanted to take ownership of the situation and defend themselves and the people around them. We also saw private charities and businesses provide aid to each other as much as they can. I know in the coming week there will be plans to provide aid from Gauteng via the N3 to KwaZulu-Natal, to businesses and people who are affected in KZN after the violence and the looting. And that just shows you that the power of voluntary engagement and voluntary cooperation, and how much more effective that is than relying on the state and waiting for the state to do everything that I think people expect it to do. But unfortunately, it has shown that it is incapable of doing this. So a very short episode just to give a little bit of thought on what I think is behind what has happened in the past week. If South Africa doesn't follow the route of more economic freedom and economic reforms, we'll see more of this in the future. I think we need serious reforms that actually improve people's lives and enable them to improve their own lives. We can't just vote for more state control and expect things to improve overnight. The state is on in two aspects. It is incapable, but it's also not right. I don't think it's moral to live that sort of way and wait and hope for the state whichever party is in charge, to give us everything that we might need. And when I talk about reforms, I talk about stuff like removing affirmative action policies, allowing competition in electricity distribution, removing even the contemplation of things like expropriation without compensation, diluting all South Africans' property rights, which will simply discourage investment, economic growth, and job creation. We can have all the grand summits and plans that we want, but without capital investment, capital formation, and I'm talking about serious capital formation, you can have all the plans of redistribution, of wealth allocation that you want, but you're not going to have job creation. You're not even going to have welfare systems without the ingredients necessary for economic growth in the first place. So, in all the various different ways that you can, in terms of voting, supporting organizations such as the Free Market Foundation and others, in terms of what you talk to people about, try and educate more people and push them in the direction of pushing South Africa in a direction of economic freedom and economic growth that will ultimately improve the quality of life of all South Africans over the long term. We have to think long term. We can't just expect things to change overnight. But if we put the right structures and ingredients in place now, hopefully things will improve over the long term. So I'll end on that note. Thank you for watching this week's episode. If you liked it, please remember to like the video and also share it on your different social media platforms, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet done so. If you're able to this weekend, take some stock of where you are, where your family is in your community. Think about what you can do with and for people around you and to improve your own life. Don't just focus on what is coming from Pretoria or Bloemfontein or Cape Town, quote unquote. I hope all of you have a safe weekend. Take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you again very soon. Bye bye.